What's up, you knuckleheads? It's Josh here, and MSI has come and gone much quicker than any of us would have wanted.
That's what she said! Michael.
This weekend will mark the final matches of MSI, with 4 teams remaining facing off in the semifinals, and then the 2 winners of the best of 5 series meeting in the finals. To commemorate these past 2 weeks of fierce battle between 4 very good teams, 2 decent teams, and then the rest, we take a look at how we got here and who will ultimately be lifting the MSI Championship in 2022.
Execute order.
Crikey, that was a real shot to the noggin, wasn't it? Order was a fan darling coming into MSI 2022. Unfortunately, they leave MSI without a single victory. Now, that's sort of understandable given that they were in a team with just G2 Esports and Evil Geniuses, but come on, you couldn't have taken at least 1 game off of the NA team just for shits and giggles for EU? Selfishly, I should be asking for a win over G2, but let's be fair, that was not going to happen. Enjoy a bloomin' onion and a double feature of Crocodile Dundee on your way back to the land down under, mates. I actually had irrationally high hopes for the Istanbul Wildcats. I didn't think they'd make it out of a group that contained RNG and PSG talent, but I thought they had a solid enough bot lane between Holy Phoenix and Farfetch. With Saren in the mid lane, I thought they at least stood a chance to win more than 1 game. But alas, that is all that we saw from Istanbul Wildcats as they predictably split the series against Red Canids. And shout out to Farfetch for having the most deaths per game of any player at MSI 2022, dying over 6 times a game on average. Good God.
Aced.
Team A's was the team that I thought coming into MSI was going to just be cannon fodder. In a group that included Detonation Focus Me, Saigon Buffalo, and the powerhouse of T1, I assumed Team A's would just go 0-6 and never have a chance. But credit to them, they did manage to split their series against DFM. That's an accomplishment greater than I thought that they would have.
We were unable to detonate the warheads for unknown reasons.
Before us sits the first true underachiever at MSI 2021, and arguably the biggest one of the group stage. Detonation Focus Me had a very veteran team with a lot of impressive players, and they only managed to win 1 game off Team A's? Like, I get it, T1 was going to be an impossible task to face, and Saigon Buffalo turned out to be very good. But you couldn't at least sweep Team Ace? You couldn't take 1 game off Saigon Buffalo? I mean, Jesus Christ, Saigon Buffalo's ABC was named Shogun. You're just gonna let him disrespect you and your nation like that? Oh, you guys bring shame on your houses.
You blew it, boy! You really blew it!
Red alert! All hands to battle stations!
Red Canids, take a bow. You were the only wildcard team that actually managed to take a game off of one of the top 6 teams that made it to the Rumble stage. Yes, it was against PSG talent, and they're not technically from a major region, but still, I'll be honest, I did not see this coming from Red Canids. I thought that they were going to be outclassed by Istanbul Wildcats and probably finish last in this group. The fact that they managed to take a game off PSG is truly an accomplishment. You made Brazil proud, but yeah, you're still Brazil. Sorry. After an impressive showing in the group stage, Saigon Buffalo finally ran out of gas when it came to the Rumble stage. They did manage to avoid the TSM embarrassment of going 0 in the Rumble stage. As the 2nd place team from a region we haven't seen in 2 years, I was really happy to see Saigon Buffalo do so well. Like I said before the tournament, Shogun is a very solid player, Taki is a decent support, and they got some other pieces that maybe they could reload and come back and maybe make Worlds this year. I mean, it's going to be tough to beat Gigabyte Marines, but if they can, I'd look forward to seeing them again. And as an NA fan, thank you so much for taking down G2. We really loved having the chance to laugh at EU for once.
Mbappe!
I gotta say, I really thought PSG Talon was going to be the 4th team. I just expected EG would not be able to outlast them with the amount of veteran talent on their team. Juhan was admittedly way worse than I expected, but man, Bae is showing that he clearly wasn't just outclassed by Korean mid laners. That bot lane is still deadly. Unified and Kaiwing put in work. It just wasn't enough to carry the sagging topside. However, they were the only team in the Rumble stage to sweep G2, which, boy, that was not what I expected to see. So thanks for that, PSG talent. And now we arrive at the Final 4. Who is likely to advance to the finals this weekend, and who will ultimately claim the MSI Championship?
Dude, mate, what do you want to do tonight?
The same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
The one thing you can say about EG is they didn't just back their way into the semifinals like other NA teams have in the past. They swept both PSG Talent and Saigon Buffalo, and that was going to be enough for them to get into the Rumble stage, even without securing that massive upset against T1. Of course, they weren't able to beat G2 at all this tournament, so that's definitely going to sting for us NA fans. The EU superiority has been proven, and we must submit to their rule. But we're not playing EU in the first round of the knockouts. Instead, we're playing RNG, another team that EG hasn't managed to beat yet. But the thing about EG is that they definitely look like they've been ramping up their play over the last few weeks. They've gotten more and more comfortable on stage. They're not willing to just bow down to the big name teams like T1 and RNG. Even in the games that they lost against RNG and G2, they were still in them. They didn't get completely mopped like, certain EU team did to T1. But unfortunately, by virtue of never being able to beat G2 ever, they finished in the 4th spot, which means that they were picked by the #1 team in MSI, who is...
And we'll never be royal.
RNG looks like an absolute monster, which is what most people would expect coming into this tournament. They've won 14 games and only lost 2. One was against G2, one against T1. In the group stage, RNG was never even threatened. They wiped the floor with the wildcard teams. If you want to know how good RNG has been in this tournament, 4 of the 5 top players in terms of KDA at this tournament are on RNG, and then CoinFlip Ben is down somewhere around Unified and Vulcan. But the most impressive thing about RNG, other than their sheer dominance, is just the amount of flexibility that they have. From Fasting Senna to Mid-Gwen, TF, Galio, Ari, Nocturne, this team just has an ocean of champions among all their players. This team is an absolute freight train, and unfortunately for Evil Geniuses, they are standing right on the tracks.
Gamers, rise up!
Even though G2 beat Evil Geniuses all 6 times that they played, they finished the Rumble stage with the exact same record. So I see that as an absolute win. In all seriousness though, this tournament has really exemplified what G2 has shown us throughout the spring split in the LEC. They're a team that can be on fire, just red hot, unstoppable. They look like the best team in the world. And then they just shit the bed and collapse. Flact and Caps have both been absolute hard carries for this team. Flact in particular outperforming where I thought he was based on his regular season playoff performance. And Targamas has been very, very good, but their top and jungle have not been that great. Broken Blade and Jankos have just been off kilter. In some games they can be very good, but in others, it just looks like they're trolling out there. If good G2 shows up against T1, I think they can absolutely win, especially given the form T1 has shown. But if they show up with the form that they had in the last round robin of the Rumble stage, oh boy, that series is going to be over quick.
Faker, what was that?
Despite the fact that they ended the Rumble stage with a very solid record, T1 has just looked off throughout this entire tournament. Everybody's going to point to Gumayushi as being one of the main reasons that T1 trolls and loses games to EG and G2, but honestly, Faker has also looked a bit off. Their macro decisions have been very weird and kind of stupid, to be honest. Keria has had some weird decision making. Zeus has been up and down in terms of his laning. Owner is still a god, and I will defend him as being one of the best junglers in the world by any metric, but it's like their team coordination cohesion, the thing that they were known for in the LCK, has evaporated, and I can't figure out why. T1 was the heavy favorites coming into MSI 2022, but right now, there's no way you can really pick them to beat a team like RNG. Hell, I'm not even that confident picking them to beat G2. If they can at least make it to the MSI finals and be competitive against RNG, that would save them from being an incredible disappointment for LCK fans who were expecting another title run after the old favorite T1. 4 teams enter and only 1 can leave. Here's who I got. I really wanted to give EG a lot more credit than I am. I think that they are a strong team. That if they were playing any of the other 3 teams, they would have a shot to win the series. But RNG is just a different beast altogether. I'm giving 1 game to EG. I think maybe they can steal one if RNG gets cocky. But honestly, I would not be surprised if they get swept, and I would be more surprised if they lose 3-2. But honestly, you can't blame EG for what they've done. With such a young roster and 2 promising rookies and a team that is mostly native NA talent, this is all you could have really hoped for. They didn't embarrass themselves, and as long as they don't get giga stomped by RNG, they return home as conquering heroes. Christ, that's sad to say. This series, I'm predicting that T1 is going to win 3-2, but honestly, I have no idea. If you asked me to bet my life on this series, I would just ask for a cigarette and a blindfold. I have no idea. Either team could sweep, either team could get swept. It just depends on which version of these two Jekyll and Hydes manages to show up. Are we going to get 2 Bruce Banners, 2 Hulks, or one of each? It's either going to be a shit stomp, a shit show, or a holy shit. So yeah, I'm going with T1, 3-2. Let's get it on. For the finals, I've got RNG winning. Again, just like EG, I think T1 could take a game off of RNG, but it would not shock me at all if RNG just swept them. I am aware they did split the series in the round robin, but to be perfectly honest, I just have not seen enough from T1 to justify picking them to win more than one game. That being said, if T1 gets on form, this is absolutely a series that T1 can win. I still think it would be very close, like a 3-2 for T1 if they were managing to win. If they won 3-1, that would be a little surprising to me. But you know what? Stranger things have happened. If Gumayusi decides to stop inting his face off, this would be a great series. Now watch RNG get knocked out by EG in the first round.